Hi, it's Kevin from the PhocusWire studio. Bryan Dove, CEO of Skyscanner. Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I guess a lot of this is kind of follow-up to a much longer conversation that you and I had 2 weeks ago, ahead of, I think it was the night before that we spoke, ahead of the, I don't want to call it a relaunch, we did cheekily call it a pivot in our headline, but you know, you've started this hybrid model. We're not allowed to call it an online travel agency and all these jokes that we had, but what's been the reaction to it? I mean, I'll tell you some of the reaction I've had in a moment, but what's the reaction that you've had from partners and even users that may have kind of chanced to post on the story?
So I'll share what we've heard, but I'd be interested to see what you hear as well, to see if it matches up.
Yeah.
So what we hear on the traveler side is we see it both in the data and then in the feedback through customer support, that people are quite happy to see it. We see in the success rate, in conversion rates, in repeat purchase rates, customers coming back to purchase again and doing so a little bit quicker, a little bit more frequently.
Okay.
And so we see really positive signs from the traveler side. And even for the feedback that we had gotten over the years before, sometimes people would ask, they would come to us and say, well, I already booked with Skyscanner, even though in the industry we know they were sent off to another OTA partner. And so they were already thinking that they were booking with us and then come back with really positive feedback.
Okay.
And then on the partner side, the partners that we've spoken to leading into this, and then those who will be coming soon, have been quite positive and supportive.
Okay.
I think one of the things we've done well for partners is really connect them with high quality travelers who are ready to make a purchase. Okay. And so they've trusted us to try something new.
Okay, so the reaction that I've had, it could be broadly summarized as, well, it's about time.
Okay.
A couple of comments on Twitter and things like that, and some conversations I had behind the scenes and things like that. So it's kind of makes sense, and it's surprising that no one's done it sooner.
Yeah.
Perhaps another bit of reaction. Be interested to see what your reaction is to the reaction, and that's kind of why are they doing the three, kind of the hybrid model?
Yeah.
Could you have possibly done away with the direct booking one, which as we know, it's been around for a couple of years?
So I think on our journey in this hybrid state, it will be, from an industry perspective, it will look messier before it gets cleaner. We still have a number of partners where we're doing the redirect model, and while on desktop that's a great model, on mobile that certainly adds a level of friction. We have the direct booking, which we've tried with both OTAs and airlines, but really focus that much more on the airline side now as a way to really partner with them and give them some branding extension within our marketplace. And so we think direct booking for airlines will certainly stay. Direct booking for OTAs that have more unique content will certainly be there. But then when we really look at how do we take all of the different OTA partners and the quality of their content and make that available for consumers, that's where we think this new bookings model will make the most sense.
What has been the hardest bit to do? Is it technically, or is it the conversations that you've had with partners telling them maybe that's just tiring that you've had to do all that? But what's been the hardest bit of this entire process to do, which we know has been a couple of years now in the making, really?
I don't know that any one stands out more difficult than the other. I think it's part of it taking a number of years, and we're still quite early in that journey, is that it's really complicated. The easier path would have been to say, almost to shun a number of partners that help build our marketplace to what it is and go down the single OTA path, and instead we're choosing to really embrace the partnerships that we have in the marketplace, but that adds technical complexity. As you mentioned, others have not done it before, and so there's a lot of new learning, a lot of new things that we have to create along the way. Okay. So partner conversations, technology, how we make sure that the money moves in the right place, how we handle servicing, things like this.
Okay, and the direct booking one, which almost seems like the weird one in the middle now, almost, even when you describe it, it's the not OTA bit, and it's the meta bit, and you've still got this one lurking around in the middle. What do you sense is going to happen to that in terms of usage? Is that going to go up a little bit or down a bit over time? Do you sense?
We still see it growing. I think we've started it and tried in lots of different combinations. Where we think it really makes a lot of sense is in partnership with airlines. And when we talk to travelers, they're often coming through on MetaSearch site and saying, do I want to book on the company that's going to fly the plane, or do I want to book with and get the best price from somebody whom I trust? Yeah. And that really, that mental difference between going with the airline and going with the OTA, when we do the direct booking with the airline, we bring all their branding into it, we bring their branded content, their fare families, all comes all the way into the product, and so we'll actually see deeper integration over time. And we think that will be around to stay for a while on the airline side. I think on OTAs, we continue to experiment to find what's the right way to bring all the value that they bring to the table and deliver that to consumers in a way that works for travelers.
Okay. So talk us through, you can see the test started in Singapore, I think you said the other week, wasn't it? So what was some of the kind of feedback that you got from users when you first suddenly they had hang on a minute, there's this book with Skyscanner thing, what's all that about? I mean, what kind of, and try and be honest with us, what were some of the kind of negative things that you may have heard? Because it is, I had it on my screen just then, but it is, there's 3 different options, and one of them is the brand that you're actually on at that time. That must be a little bit possibly confusing for users.
So I think that was one of our concerns, and that's why we wanted to start with a test in just a single market and really limited it down. I think to be fair, the feedback that we got from our travelers was similar to what you shared that you heard from the industry and on Twitter, which was finally it's kind of about time, and the almost instant resonance that people had by seeing the word Skyscanner there and choosing to book with the Skyscanner button was very, very quick. Okay. And certainly bumps along the way, and if somebody books through us and finds the flight and the flight is still delayed, they're still going to come back with questions. They're still going to need to make changes. They're still going to have to deal with delays and cancellations and items like this. So we still have to give them the right level of support and service. But quite consistently, very positive feedback from our travelers. Okay,
so from a user experience perspective and maybe a design perspective, there's equal weight to each button, for want of a better word for them, right? Are you going to start weighting the Skyscanner one over the others because you do want them to move to that model eventually, right?
Well, so one thing that we've been really quite principled on for a long time, and we'll stick to that principle, is that we don't use what is best for Skyscanner to influence the sort. We really try to sort on what's best for the traveler. And so
even if it would be much better for you financially.
Yeah, we've operated on that principle for a really long time. So when we started out, it was as simple as just sorting by price.
Yeah.
We've gotten more sophisticated where now you come in and we sort by best, which is a combination of price, direct flights versus connections, total travel time, quality of aircraft, and things like this. So there's other dimensions in there. But we're still really sorting on what's best for the traveler, and we don't use our internal financial structure to influence that at all. And it's a principle we chose to have, and it's one that we choose to stick to.
But
I'll get to your question.
No, but just as a quick follow-up to that. But what if the numbers were so obvious that if you just made a little tweak, it would just really help you financially? Then you would be tempted to banish those long-held principles, right?
So I will say one of the things I found really unique about Skyscanner when I joined, and since long before I was there, it's an organization that really holds deep to a set of values and convictions.
Okay.
I'll be honest, even if I tried to send an email to get that to happen, I don't know that anybody would implement it. It's that level of deep conviction
You're the
within
boss,
the team.
Bryan, remember that?
I know. It's, but I think it's just something that we believe to be true. I think in the longer run also, we have a very strong belief that all of this comes back to, if you do the right thing for customers today, they'll remain your customer tomorrow. And rather than optimizing in the short run why this might generate more revenue or better yield for us now, if it's not the best thing for the traveler, we run the risk of them wanting to go somewhere else who will do the best thing for them. And so we just optimize that way, and that's paid off over the long run for us many times over.
It's a very good defense of the defense of the principle there.
Yes.
That's great. So I suppose last of all then, Bryan, really is, do you anticipate, and no, you can't speak for your competitors and other brands, but do you anticipate that you may be leading the charge that's going to come behind you with this now? They'll see it, maybe see the results and think, oh, okay, we probably should have done this a long time ago, as they probably should have done it a long time ago.
So I think there's 2 dimensions to look at. So one, from a customer perspective, from a traveler perspective, I think most of the travelers out there don't have a huge differentiation between how they think about metasearch and how they think about an OTA. They think this is the product that I use to find all my travel options and make my choice. Now in the industry, we can make all the pros and cons and differences between them, but I think for most travelers, it becomes overwhelming, and they just simplify it to travel products and don't differentiate. And so for them, the merger and the intersection is natural. I think also, I think some of the other folks in the industry will also anticipate this to to happen at some point in time, especially in the mobile world. And so I think even Steve from Kayak was talking about this a bit last year. I think we may have different views on how that does merge. We're trying to be very deliberate with our point of view. But I think the merger in some shape or form is inevitable.
Okay. And you said when we spoke last week that you felt that it was a necessary transition. You obviously still stick to that. But do you think it's going to be... I'm trying to think of the way of putting it. I mean, what is the next kind of necessary transition, do you think, whether it's from a business model perspective or a UX perspective? Or do you think would you be bold enough to say that you've solved it once you've done this one?
I would never be that bold, nor that naive. Sorry. I do think as an industry we have yet to really solve the problem for how to help travelers and consumers all around the world do their end-to-end planning and shopping on a phone. Right? When you look at our numbers versus other consumer categories, you look at groceries, you look at food delivery, you look at shopping on Amazon, the world is really shifted to mobile. And so I think still a lot of the UX innovation, business model innovation, marketplace innovation to come is really about optimizing that shopping and planning experience on the phone.
Okay, Bryan Dove, nice to talk to you again, and thanks for joining us here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.